Beltre ducks off a tough hop, and the throw is wide down the line. And here we got a 5 second. Bautista picked on the wrong guy as Odor came right at him, and we got the benches emptying now. There's some pent-up emotion going on out of Globe Life Park.
Bautista got the worst of that exchange.
And now DeMar O'Hale getting an explanation. Here's the close-up.
That's the kind of slide they're trying to eliminate.
Yep. And I think Odor, you saw Odor dropping down. Rudin said, nope.
Whoa! I think Bautista got all he could handle with that.
Odor's now 2 for 5 today.
As he crossed home plate the first time around. And of course, a pitch comes in at him, and Archer's going to be warned.
Archer apparently has a problem with it.
And David Bell saying, well, why warn him? And here comes everybody who wants to talk about it. These two teams have played each other quite a bit here in the early going, and it's feisty. And Puig is going after it now. He's throwing some arms around just when you thought it had quelled. Well, Puig got his arms up.
Well, I think Puig and Cervelli were kind of jawing at each other as everybody was leaving.
There's Trevor Williams in the middle.
Well, Trevor doesn't look very happy either. Maybe he's the one that's saying something.
I'm going to take an army to hold him back. There's Vasquez with his shirt off. This is going on a long time.
Well, you know, the closer doesn't get dressed and go to the bullpen until later on in the game. He's come out from the clubhouse probably. That's why he doesn't have his uniform on.
Okay, we've got the word now on the players who. And that pitch hits Greg Nettles, and he's going after Donnie Moore. Here we go again. Nettles in the middle, Moore backing out. The benches are emptying again. My, oh my, oh my. The Goose is involved. I have never seen a ball game where so many separate incidents have occurred.
Now here come the guys who were thrown out earlier for the Padres coming back out.
Here's who was thrown out during the last melee, along with pitcher Craig Lefferts and acting manager Jack Kroll. From San Diego, Bobby Brown was thrown out. Goose Gossage going after Donnie Moore. They're heading toward the Braves dugout again. Here goes Greg Nettles after Moore, and he was really tackled in front of that Braves dugout. The last time these two teams had the benches empty, Lefferts was ejected. So was Jack Kroll. Bobby Brown was ejected from the game for the Padres. Champ Summers was ejected from the game. And 3 members of the Atlanta Braves, Rick Mailer, Steve Bedrosian, and Gerald Perry, were all thrown out. Nettles at the bottom of all that, Joe Torre pulling Alan Wiggins away. Steve Bedrosian, who's been thrown out of the game, is out in the field. And we got another one breaking out. Another one is breaking out. Gene Garber pulling Tim Flannery away from somebody. Yet another fight is broken out in front of the dugout. A couple of the Braves players who have been ejected, Rick Mailer and Steve Bedrosian, are both out in the field. So is Gerald Perry. That could get them in some more trouble. Joe Torre is down on the ground with somebody. You saw Rick Mailer a moment ago. Bedrosian and Perry are both also out there. They've all been thrown out of the game. Eddie Haas walking Gerald Perry back to the dugout now, trying to get him off the field. Because you've got suspension possibilities now. When players have been ejected from the game, and they come back out in the field, they face possible suspensions.
I think all the players ejected came back out. I can't be sure, but I really think they did. Now there's some trouble in the Padre dugout, and I don't know what all that is about. For there are no Braves personnel over there, but it looks like the Padre trainer.
He's trying to hold back somebody because of something a couple of fans said to him.
Well, the security guys have done a pretty good job now. They've perched everywhere, keeping the fans back.
That looks like Craig Lefferts in the Padre dugout without the shirt. Now, he's supposed to be in the clubhouse when you're ejected from the game. He's come back out. This almost makes that Cubs-Mets series look like the Little League.
Now Moore will be thrown out, I assume, and Torrey will be thrown out. And in a 5-1 game, you put the leadoff man on first base is the other thing you've done in the 9th inning.
That's Ed Whitson. He was the first guy to go during all this. Way back in the 4th inning. A fan has just thrown something into the Padre dugout. That's got their players upset again. The security guards are going after someone.
You know, you're almost to the point, if you're an umpire, that if you could, you'd suspend this. And just say, hey, that's enough. Let's finish it some other time. You'd hate to do that, but how much...
Boy, Ed Whitson is furious. He is furious. One of the clubhouse attendants for the Padres trying to cool down the fans. Whitson was ejected from the game back in the 4th inning. Look at those eyes.
This keeps on. It's a matter of time before either a coach or somebody has a heart attack or somebody gets seriously hurt.
Of Brandon Phillips, and we've yet to set the stage about everything that happened, and you get a look at it. For those who may not have known, Brandon Phillips last night to both Jim Day and Hal McCoy made some comments about the Cardinals, saying he hates the Cardinals, and used some less than family language in his descriptions. And as soon as Brandon got to the plate, Yadier Molina got in his face. Now there's Roland and Molina, former teammates. This series has been void of bad blood probably until the end of the night last night. And there's Dusty Baker and Tony La Russa. They've had their issues with one another over the years.
Well, I'm really stunned that a war of words would actually cause the benches to empty before they get going in the bottom of the 1st inning. Obviously, some discourse between Yadier Molina and Brandon Phillips sparked the whole thing. We will know until after the game exactly what was said. Now Scott Rowland is getting into it.
And now it is turning ugly.
With Chris Carpenter. And Carpenter's the one down there chirping.
Carpenter had issues with his own teammates last night. And it is getting really ugly. As we've got punches and kicks. Johnny Cueto, the starting pitcher, is being wrestled away.
And this is not good at all, because this is the kind of situation where somebody can get up, get hurt, get their finger stepped on, and it's just not baseball. I'm hoping that the umpires can get this thing under control and we can get on to playing the game of baseball, because nothing is going to be solved by this. But I will tell you one thing. If there is not a lot of love between these two ball clubs, despite the fact that a lot of players on each team have played for the other team before. Now there's going to be some ejections, and we're going to find out who.
And without question, some suspensions and fines to follow as well.
Well, Pena reaching on the error by the third baseman Gloss. And now Chan-Ho Park with one on and one out shows bunt. And he drops it again down beautifully. Belcher will field and tag him out. Second time that Park has moved the runner. And now some shoving. And a fight breaks out between Belcher and Park. And Park hits Belcher. And both benches will empty. Well, you have to believe that Belcher said something to Park, who had knocked down Randy Velarde twice in a game already. And it didn't take long for Belcher and Park to square off.
On first look, it looked like Tim Belcher applied the tag to Chan-Ho Park and kind of put his arms around him to prevent any kind of a collision in the base path there. Perhaps Park misunderstood. I'm not quite sure, but it didn't take long to get started there. Man, Park's still very upset. We'll get a look at this play once again. The ball bunted up the first base line. Belcher's going to take the play himself. He puts the ball in his bare hand. See, he applies the tag to Park right there. And I don't know, words are exchanged right there. Looks like Belcher told him to go on back to the bench, and then Park throws a left to the face of Belcher, a kick, and then here we go. Tag was applied. Everything looked cool up to that point. Then an elbow to the stomach by Park, a push, an elbow to the face by Park, a kick to the ribs. Belcher on top, and here we go.
It was difficult. It looked like some words were exchanged. You just don't know what was said, and then you don't know what happens in the heat of battle. Something was said that sparked emotion, and then it got out of hand.
3-2. And it hit him, wouldn't you know? Now he has something to say, and look out here. A.J. Ellis got out there just as Granke and Quinton got together. Quinton continues to amaze as he consistently gets hit by pitches. It looks like the majority of the players are trying to be peacemakers. The trio of Granke, along with A.J. Ellis and Carlos Quinton. Now here comes the Dodger bullpen contingent. Quinton being led away off to the left. And Matt Kemp is irate. Don't touch me, I think he said to Bud Black.
The Red Sox yawning. Alex Rodriguez is drilled, and he says something to Bronson Arroyo. And we know what he said. Here we go. Veritek and A-Rod going at it. Schilling is right in the middle of it. Now another fight off to the side. Millar is in it. Nixon is in it.